We're going to do a Podapalooza. What's the date for it? The 16th of this month. I've got to finish figuring out exactly where, though. I apologize. Things have been too hectic and I have not got it done. Who likes supporting scouts? Podapalooza will be Podapalooza. We will set up at the 27th. We're going to set up, good, that means I got more time. We're going to set up at 2 different parks and allow everybody to activate the park using their own call sign, even if they're technician level. We will have bands from at least 6 meters through 6 centimeters, hopefully through 3 centimeters, but we got to find 2 parks that have good line of sight, that are also relatively easy to get to, so we can do our normal dinner afterwards or lunch for a social event. That's what I got to get figured out, is which 2 parks. Okay, what's the date for Jamboree on the Air? What? That's why they're closing the gate back there. No Paul tonight. Okay, so we're looking up the date. So JODA is Jamboree on the Air. It is billed as the largest ham radio event in the world, because the idea is you get every scout on the air. So October 18th, Saturday, Eagle Island State Park, which is also a POTA entity, we will set up stations. We're already advertised through the local Scout Council, trying to invite scouts to come and get on the air. We'll find scouts all around the world, hopefully on the air, that we'll be able to make contact with. And even if there's no scouts around, it's still a POTA event and we can have lots of fun. We're scheduled from, was it 11 to 2? 11 to 2 with a potluck lunch probably at about 1 o'clock. And then our next big event is Winter Field Day. For November, we're trying to find a place for a build, which we haven't found yet. We're still working on it. But the next big event is Winter Field Day, which will be at Curtis Park in between Caldwell and Middleton again. Oh, well, the next big radio event is Winter Field Day. The next big fun event is the Christmas party. How many of you have not come to one of our Christmas parties before? I know you guys haven't. Weren't you there? Yeah, you were there. Yes, because you want a radio. So at our Christmas party, what's the date for it? December 13th. That sounds right. At Golden Corral in Nampa. Man, the big guy's here even. All right. We start at 4 o'clock or 3:30? So we will give out awards. If you have anybody you want to nominate for any sort of award, whether it's a serious award or a playful award, send us an email. We need a ham of the year. We need a new ham of the year. We can use all sorts of things. Just so you know, we had one year the logger of a year, because a guy going to one of our events was doing a video of the road to show his fiance and hit a block of wood in the road and ruined a tire. We had Les Schwab's employee of the year one year, because in an event he lost 3.5 tires. So we like to have fun, but the big thing is the ham of the year and the junior ham of the year. We also do a white elephant gift exchange, which can be a lot of fun. A lot of the ham radio shirts that you've seen around here, I've seen in the white elephant gift exchange. A lot of fun. We do ask that you try to keep the cost below like $25 because we don't want anybody to feel that they can't afford to do it. But it's always a lot of fun, and it's a good time. So we do it at the Golden Corral in Nampa. They've treated us fairly well. They kind of reserve an area for us, even though they can't actually reserve an area, and that's why we try to show up early so we start filling it up before the dinner crowd gets there. Any questions on any of that? Yeah, so our last event, we did a POTA at Deer Flat. A few people were there. Did you have a good time? Always. Who else was it? Don had a good time. And what was kind of nice, well, we were doing our POTA here in Idaho. The guy in the back there was doing a POTA in Washington, a POTA trip. And basically everybody that wanted to made a contact with them for park to park over at one of the lighthouse parks, right? And it was also lighthouses on the air weekend, so one lady got really excited with all these lighthouses. I said that already. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to not full screen. So, websites. How many have a favorite website for ham radio? How many have like 30 websites you use regularly for ham radio? And one that I didn't put in here, now that somebody reminded me of it, YouTube has got a lot of good stuff on it as well, but I didn't put it because it's not really a specific website. So we can start with some of ours. Our website, the Federal Communications Commission. I'll warn you, the Federal Communications website sucks. It's slow. It's hard to find anything. It's almost worthless, but you still have to use it. The ARRL has got a lot of good information. And I know lots of people don't like what the ARRL does, but they are our big legislative support body in that they talk to the legislature as well as the FCC to hopefully do what's in our best interest. Not always the case. Ham Club Online is a website that we use for local maintenance. If you sign up on there with our club, you'll get emails from us of all the events that are coming up, our calendars there, and all of that's also moving to the website. Now let's get to some more fun ones. How many? That was actually the name that was up there. Yeah, that takes you to the one that he's created, not to the. Okay, how many of you have used QRZ? Does anybody want to know what we can do on QRZ? Okay. Most common use is looking up call signs. You want to know information about somebody, you can go there, type up their call sign. You can also do it on Radio QTH. You can do it on hamcall.net and qrzcq.com. Most have all U.S. call signs because they download the database from the FCC. International call signs are more if the person wants to put it on the site. So if you're talking to somebody with an international call sign and you don't find them on QRZ, don't necessarily think that they're not licensed because QRZ doesn't automatically import them all. Yes. But not all is my point. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who is interested in getting a vanity call sign? Or who has a vanity call sign? AE7Q is probably the best site to look at vanity call signs. Okay? This will be on our, hopefully our website, our Facebook page, on the YouTube channel, but write it down, ae7q.com. How many people like the idea of getting a 2x1 or 1x2 call sign? How hard are they to find? Currently, in Region 1, there is one call sign that is available right now. Doesn't mean that somebody hasn't applied. There's 5 that have pending applications, so you know those are going to be gone. Of course, in call area 7, there's 0, and it's always 0. But like, if you want to be a 6, there's 4 different call signs that are currently available that somebody could apply to that's either a 1x2 or 2x1. If you're looking for that, it's great. It'll also tell you how many are currently expired but less than 2 years old. Once they've been expired for 2 years, they're available. Any of them have been canceled. Again, they're tied up for 2 years, but there's that many that'll be available within 2 years time frame. If you have a call sign that you're interested in and you want to find the history, you can look it up. It's a great way to look it up. That's how I found mine. I kept going there and searching until I found something I liked and then applied for it. If you're going to apply for a hard one to get, like a 2x1 or 1x2, you need to apply for it the day it becomes available. So it'll say it'll become available on the 1st at midnight. You apply on the 2nd because it processes everything basically as midnight. So if you do it the day it becomes available, it's not available, so you can't get it. For a 1x2 or a 2x1, you have to be an extra. But you can look up any of them here. So like if you wanted, let's say, what's your initials, John? Don? DRL? Say you wanted to find out if K7 DRL was available. You could apply for it right now and probably get it. Like I said, I really like this website for searching. Radio QTH I haven't used to search for a call sign, but I know you can do it there as well. How many of you like searching for DX? How do you find if somebody from Mozambique is on the air? DX Summit. This website, if you know a call sign, you can type it in and it'll tell you everybody that's reported hearing or decoding that call sign. Tells you the countries. You can sort it different ways. So like if you're trying to get Equatorial Guinea, 3C3W is currently on the air on 80 meter FPA. I can't get on my 80 meter antenna. It doesn't work good enough. What? Yes, I have antenna problems. They're too small, too close to the ground. That's at home, not on the pickup. But this is a really nice place. If you know there's a DXpedition, and we're going to hit some websites that'll help tell you what's out there, you look up a call sign and you can search for it. So like, if you guys wanted to make a contact with me and you needed to know where I was at most recently, it looks like I've been heard on 6 meters and 17 meters and reported to the DX Summit. DX Watch, real similar. DX Heat, real similar. Some people like some better than others. Another way to find stations, PSK Reporter and QRZ-CQ. They both connect into it. PSK Reporter is digital and CW only, but you can search and see what stations have reported hearing it and get a neat little map. How many of you have ever used PSK Reporter? How many of you haven't used PSK Reporter? Let me close that. Oh, there it is. It's in the wrong spot. Which John? That John's? This was me earlier on 6 meters. I always go there to see if 6 meters is, if there's a chance it's open, if anybody's hearing me. And the lower right is over in Colorado. So I got Colorado and Portland area. So I was being heard a little. I didn't hear anybody, but it makes me know that it's a good idea to keep checking regularly because there's a chance. We'll close that window. Okay. Who has used an internet connected SDR? How nice are they to use? Who has no idea what an internet connected SDR is? Software defined radio. They are stations. So this is the first website. It's got a list of most of the accessible SDRs in the world. With an SDR, you can go to their website and tune their radio, possibly change antennas that are on and listen. If you're working voice and you don't know if you're getting out because nobody's answering you, you can get on an SDR and listen to yourself. There are people who will listen to like a DX station and hear them on the SDR, talk to them on their radio so they can log it. But if you've got like a real high noise floor, I'm not going to say it's wrong to do, but people have done it. I'm not saying, I'm staying out of that part of it. I would agree, but I know, but a lot of times people will do it so they hear better. Yeah. One of the best SDRs, in my opinion, to us, Northern Utah Web SDR. It's a good way to see what's going on in our area because it's reasonably close. If you're having a problem with your radio, almost any band at any time, you should be able to hear yourself there if you're putting out 100 watts because it's not very far away. If you can't hear yourself there, either band conditions are really bad or something's wrong. I've done it before just for testing. It's like you'll see that some DX station is on the air, can't hear it at home, so you go to a web SDR and see if you can hear them. Go to, yeah. Kiwi is like a, yeah. There's actually so the best one to buy right now called the, shoot, I can't remember. It's like the 888. It's got a network port in it. It will receive like 60 megahertz at the same time. And all you do is plug it in and install the software, and you've got your own web SDR you can set out there. It's a $150 radio. Yeah, wow. Hey, I see you working more with bipolar than I do tubes. Well, okay, space weather. Solar. Who knows how to read space weather information? Not me. I don't know enough about it. But here's some great sites. How many of you have seen that little graphic? It's shared a lot of places. It's got a lot of good information. You know, like it says, 80 meters, 4 in the daylight, good at night. 30 through 20 is doing pretty good. I would agree with that today. 17 to 15, most of it's pretty accurate. No Aurora, no 6 meter, no 4, no 2 meter. Another space weather site. Okay, now let's go back to the propagation tools. How can you tell if a band is open? How do you tell, Doug? If you're not hearing anything, what's the problem? If you're me, your antenna is not connected to the coax, or that joker in the club pinned your coax and you didn't catch it. This website, I really like. If it would show up anything. Very recently, on 10 meters, all the stations at the end of those black lines recorded that they heard the other one. So basically a black line, what? It wasn't Ava with a crayon this time. But what's interesting is 10 meters have gotten us down into Oceania, a little bit in South America, but no Europe lately. If you want to see, if you're one of these crazy 6 meter guys, you can look here to see who's made contacts on 6 meters. And there's been one from Florida to Texas lately. There's 80 meters. Think about the sunlight. We're getting into Europe on 80 meters because we're starting to hit dark on the East Coast. Lots of stuff on the East Coast going over to Europe. Nothing on the West Coast, really, because we still got daylight. But look at how busy Europe is to Europe. One of the problems with, yeah, I mean, like one problem with 160, especially for most of us, you don't have enough room to put up an antenna of any size. So you've got a very compromised antenna. So you got to up the power, and lots of us don't have gobs of power. Yeah, but that's the issue. And what gets even more interesting, 2200 meter. That's, yeah, that's 400 kilohertz. Is that right? I think it's 420 kilohertz. And the 630 meter is, I think, in 700 kilohertz, but I can't remember for sure. I really like this site, though. If you're not hearing anything on your radio and nobody's answering you, if you look on here and there's nothing around you, it's probably not you. Notice I said it's probably not you. Okay, vendors. Where do we buy our equipment? What? Facebook Marketplace. Commercial vendors, I really like Main Trading Company. They're a small mom and pop and they sell most stuff. I know everybody's probably heard of Ham Radio Outlet, Gigaparts. R&L Electronics is another small one. Valley Enterprises, if you want to support Idaho business, Valley Enterprises is somewhere in the Rigby, Rexburg area. They carry a lot of accessories. To really support local, which I didn't put on here, the only place I know of around here that we can buy much of anything is AGM Supply in Caldwell, but they carry a lot of different things.
So is Valley, if you just happen to be, like when I go through Portland, I have to stop at the Ham Radio Outlet.
To the best of my knowledge, yes, you can stop in Valley. but they don't have like a showroom.
Gotcha.
Because they're not a ham radio, they're a radio. Yeah. Like, here's MTC. There's Valley's website, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of some of the stuff that they sell. Gigaparts, HRO. I didn't get the link because I would assume we've all seen their websites. Amazon, but Amazon's not specific. Okay, buy, sell, trade sites. I know earlier, I think you said QRZ. QTH, how many of you have used QTH? Only one. I like QTH. It's got a better search system in my mind. EHAM, who's used EHAM? EHAM is another good one. Used to be that people would only post stuff on one site or the other. I'd usually find more stuff posted on QTH. Now almost everything's posted on all 3 sites. Who has heard of the Idaho-Utah ham radio swap page? Yes, it's a yellow colored page. If you've got big stuff that you want to sell, you know, like you don't want to ship your great big amplifier that you're afraid you'll break tubes, this is Pocatello, is where the site's based. And they've always got all sorts of things. As you can see, there's somebody's tower. Yeah, it's an old ham radio site. Oh, yes. Thank you. I knew I'd forget some stuff. It's not on here. Shulman, I think is how you pronounce it. Shulman Auction, based out of, is it Missouri? Or Pennsylvania. They are the largest amateur radio auction site around. They go buy estates and sell it. You can find almost anything there. All sorts of stuff. And what I've seen, their shipping isn't outrageous. Some of the auction sites will kill you on shipping if you want something shipped. Product reviews. Where's a good place to find an amateur radio product review? YouTube here. EHAM has some of the best because you can look at multiple reviews, not just one. You go to almost any product, multiple people review it, and it'll give you, a star rating just like Amazon. If you see 50 people have rated it and it's a 5-star on everyone, it's probably a pretty good product. If 50 people have rated it and it's a 1-star, I wouldn't look at it. And it's hams that are doing the reviews. You have to have an account and sign in and type up your review. And that is here. So like if you wanted to, well, Yaesu FT70. See, and this is why I actually loaded the pages up before I got here, because I knew the internet would be slow. But here is a review. There's been 3 reviews in the last 180 days with a 4.7 average. 78 people reviewed. I would agree. The FT70 is a pretty good radio. And a lot of times when you find oddball stuff that you don't know much about, something older. How many of you are familiar with ADI radios? Not very many. You don't know anything about it? You can plug it into EHAM and see what the review looks like. What is a QSL server? Ah. Nice. I use it for individual stuff like, well, BBI has a radio for sale. I've never heard of it. I'll go to eHam and look it up and see what the reviews are to see if it's worth looking at. No, I still got to get over there with a couple of amplifiers, but find some time. Yeah. At 3 o'clock. Yes. Okay, what's a QSL service? QSL is a confirmation service. That means that you've made a contact with somebody and you're going to confirm. Who likes to earn wallpaper from contests? I should see a couple hands popping up there, some over there. That's QSL. Logbook of the World is probably one of the biggest, but it's also the biggest pain in the behind to use. Lots of people hate it, but if you want any ARL awards, you've almost got to use Logbook of the World, or it may take you the rest of your life to get enough QSL cards sent to you to do the confirmation. QRZ works as both a logbook and a QSL site. You can transfer your contacts from Logbook of the World to QRZ and vice versa. Who's heard of EQSL? I don't really like it much either anymore. It used to be really big. It used to be used a lot in Europe, and I think the Europe market still does it. Club Log will do it for you. How many of you are familiar with Club Log? Nobody? We'll get into Club Log a little more on another page. Mr. BBI. Coax loss. No. Coax loss. Don't be me. Don't be dumb and bring 100 feet of RG8X planning on using it on 70 centimeter with a 50 watt radio. What? Yeah, 85% loss at 100 feet at 460 megahertz. What? 85% loss. Yes. No, I'm doing micro QRP, whatever they call that level below. Even though I had a 50 watt radio, I was really, yeah. I always try to tell people when you're setting up a radio, I will say the most important thing, if there's any distance between your radio and antenna, is your coax. Next is your antenna. Last is your radio. Because a 10 watt radio with no loss and a highly efficient antenna works a lot better than a 1,000 watt radio that has 1% of the signal getting to the antenna. I don't know what you're talking about. I really like this one on KV5R. One bad thing with all the coax loss calculators, none of them have all of the common coaxes. But what I like about this one, let's just say, if we do RG8X from Belden and put in 460 megahertz, and we'll assume I had a 1.5 to 1 SWR and a 100 watt radio, not that I did, it shows I'm really putting out 13 watts at my antenna. 86% loss. Inch and a quarter heliax, 13% loss. That 100 watt radio is putting out almost 87 watts still at the antenna, at the end of the feed line. I don't know if it, yeah, I don't think it has 400. But like LMR 400, which is pretty good stuff, but still at 460 megahertz, 48% loss. Well, and you got to go hardline when you go up in frequency. Even if you go to the really big LMR stuff, get down to it. LMR 900, which is, what is it, like 7/8 of an inch in diameter? Still 25% loss. Yeah, right. How many of you have ever heard me say that if you're setting up a repeater, if you're not spending the money on hardline, it isn't hardly worth doing? That's why. Okay, let's get some of these extra windows closed so the computer will be a little faster.
You want to talk about how the same effect takes place with low HF bands?
It does take effect. Yeah. For normal HF, coax is not, as long as you've got a decent SWR, coax isn't a killer. You've got to make sure it'll handle the power you're putting into it, but the losses, at 20 and 40 meters are pretty low on any decent coax. Who wants to know about building a repeater, modifying a commercial radio to work on ham bands? Repeater Builder has lots of good information. There's reviews on a lot of stuff. If you've picked up an old commercial radio, a 2-meter Motorola, and you want to know, can I set this up on ham band? They'll tell you. They may tell you more than you want to know, including going in and rebuilding the whole thing and changing the filters to go to it. Above my pay grade, but it's got lots of good information. Yes. You'd have to look and see, but I wouldn't bother with it because I could spend $20 and get one that does work in the ham bands. But there's probably a good chance you could make it work on 70 centimeters. All-Star information. Does everybody know what All-Star is? Yes, he explained it to us. He set up a few All-Star nodes. But that's information on it. There's All-Star Nets, has some nets that's run on All-Star systems. If you're interested, you can go to any of those websites and look around. Net support tools. How many of you check into HF nets? Like Old Miss or what's the local one? FarmNet. All I could think of was Friendly, and I couldn't think of it. The FarmNet. A lot of those use NetLogger, so you can actually look to see if you were checked in, because sometimes it can be hard to tell if you really got it. Some of the nets that are like, there's one that's for worked all states, so everybody calls in and tells them what state, and then you can look on NetLogger to see, oh, I need to talk to this guy because I need Ohio, and you can see what call sign you're trying to get to. eCars has got a similar setup. APRS. Who is not aware of what APRS is? Yes. Let's see. I believe you. There's a lot of good ones, but we'll get to it. So, shoot. I had it on the network. So it had, I pulled my call sign up. I took that little blue HT with me on the Hell's Canyon jet boat race, the Thunder on the Snake that we were at last weekend. I was stationed at Bear Bar, which is on the Snake River, about a quarter of a mile from the Oregon-Washington border, down in the bottom of this deep canyon. That radio pinged and got me onto APRS.5, and it showed me on the river, whatever it was, like, I don't know. Yes, if it was Saturday, it was the only signal that getting out. But I was just amazed. To me, at times, it's really amazing how far an APRS signal can go. When we were at the Stand Hope race, and I got a map of it if anybody wants to see it around here, I was east of Sun Valley Haley up on top of a peak with that same blue HT setting in the back seat of Steve's pickup. It heard the War Eagle APRS digipeater all the way over there, and the Mount Harrison one. How far of a contact have you seen on yours? How about just one hop, though? It's amazing at how often a signal can make it a long ways on APRS. Now, what's the site you like? Got what? Okay. I've got it on the list so I can add it in when we put this out. De-expeditions. What's a de-expedition? Only some of them aren't vacations. Have you seen any of the videos of the people trying to get on Beauvais Island? So a de-expedition is you go out to a remote place that may or may not have ever had ham radio contacts on it, but nothing regular and recent, and set up your radio and give people contacts. So like if you're looking for your DXCC, which is DX Century Club, means you contacted 100 entities. People will go to these little islands, and some of them are very hard to go to. Sometimes they're only there for a week, sometimes a few days. Finding them can be hard to do at times. I really like Club Log. If you log into Club Log and go up here to expeditions, a lot of the expeditions are listed on here, and you can see them. Many of the de-expeditions will only confirm your contact if you request it on here through their request system. Most of them charge you to do it, but you can get them. One really neat thing is you can go to here, and I was logged on OG0C on 30 meters from 17, 3D2 USU. Those are all different de-expeditions that have logged me. I can look at them all at one time, or from the other page, you can do it. And some of them even have live streams like TO3K, who is no longer on the air. They had a live stream that you can actually go through, and it'll show every call sign they're putting in the log, so you can tell for sure that they've logged you. To find out where some of these de-expeditions are going, DX News, DX World, and the DX Maps calendar. People will post where they're going, like he just got done, JG7J in Montana. He goes out every summer to an island to put the island on 6 meters. He takes his antenna and amplifier and does EME and other stuff if possible, and he goes out for like 2 weeks every year just to put these islands on the air on 6 meters. I think he just got back. Last year he went to Christa de Cuna. There's a little tiny island out in the middle of nowhere, really hard to get to, but you can look up to see when and where people are going to be. Contest tools. Do you ever wonder what sort of a contest is going on because you hear them asking strange questions? I like WA7BMV's contest calendar. Let's see. And I've got that open. Let's close. There's the contest calendar. I usually pull up the 8-day calendar. So tonight's Thursday. Walk for the Beacon QRP contest was going on. CW Ops tests were on. NRAU 10-meter activity. SKCC sprint in Europe. And the NCC FT4, well, FT4 sprint is tomorrow. But you can look to see what it is. If you notice, Saturday there's lots. And if you want to find out more about any of them, so like the Wake Up QRP sprint, here's the information on it. Usually you can figure out what they're looking for if you go there. The ARL has their contest calendar for all of their contests, but these are just primarily the ARL contests. Bless you. Okay. Specific events. Who does POTA in here? Who does not do POTA in here? You don't yet. The POTA website. Who's heard of World Wildlife and Fauna? What is it, Joe? So, okay. World Wildlife and Fauna is basically a precursor to international POTA. It's wildlife refuges and stuff of that nature all around the world. Many of our POTA sites are also WWF sites. Most of the wildlife refuges and stuff in the big national parks are all part of that system as well. POTA is getting more popular around the world. A few years ago, POTA was almost entirely the US. I mean, you very seldom saw a POTA activator in any other country. It's growing, but this is the site that used to have it all. POTA actually has 2 sites. The POTA.app is the better one, I should say. It has more stuff. POTA, Parks on the Air moves you to POTA.app. Frequency info. What's Repeater Book do for us? Does it have every repeater listed? What? Yes, it's got ours. Does it have accurate info for every repeater that's listed? Yep. So it is an entirely volunteer-led operation that you put in repeater information that you know, hopefully as the repeater owner. So if you don't want your repeater listed, you don't put it in there, nobody knows about it. Idaho ARL has a listing of I think more repeaters in Idaho than Repeater Book, because there's at least a few members of the Idaho ARL who try to keep it updated. Radio reference. Who can tell me what's on the third tower from the left on the top of Schaefer Butte? Yeah, it was there. Radio reference gives you an easy way to search for FCC information to see who has a licensed site, what frequency they're on. Like if you want to listen to the Boise School District radios, if they're not encrypted, you can do a search for Boise School District and find every license that they have through radio reference. You can also find it on the FCC, but that works a lot better. Yeah, that is one of the primary things it was created for, is for everybody with a scanner. Where do I get frequencies? You could go to that website and do a search on your geographic area, pull up scanner frequencies just like Repeater Book does repeaters. The problem is most public service is encrypted anymore, so you can't hear it. You can't listen to it, but Um, uh, there's a few that aren't, but it's on this side of the mountains, almost everybody is. DX Zone is the last one I have. DX Zone, I love to hate because you can find all sorts of stuff there. Probably already had it open right there. You can find all sorts of stuff there, but like nothing is there. So if you want to find an antenna design, it'll have a link to an antenna design, but getting to the actual antenna design can be next to impossible. That's why I say I love to hate it, because it drives me crazy. But it does have a lot of good information to start a search, because if you find a design that sounds interesting, you can maybe put in the title of that design into Google search and actually find it somewhere else. Okay, that's what I had for sites. What did I miss? Let me type it in here first. KC2.com. I'm guessing that's a propagation. Okay. It's live. What else did I miss? What one? Slow down. Sierra Oscar Lima. An Australian site. It's slower. I don't log most of my SOTA contacts because the site is such a pain in the behind to log. The bad thing about SOTA is to get hunter points, chaser points, whatever you call it, you have to put your log in to get them. John can go activate the summit and get his stuff, but if you want the points for contacting him, you've got to log it as well. But yes, I like that. So now let me okay, anybody else have anything else? Yep. Is this the one that she moved? She moved, yeah. But the gal who created it actually took the class with Elaine and I. She worked at HP, but my mind is blank as what her name is. Yeah. This was started here locally. But it's kind of nice because it shows where they're at versus repeater book not showing as much. And it's got them, you can, well, like Nampa number 32 at, oh, it doesn't say it there, the elevation. Yeah. But at 2,400 feet, almost 2,500.
Will this one work?
So the gal who created it was here. I don't remember all of the details. She moved to Montana and gave it up. She used to be a member of the VOI Tech Committee and created it. And then it's still volunteer-based like Repeater Book. So if you've put your repeater in it that's down in Utah, yes, you'll find it on here.
Okay.
If that local owner hasn't, you're not going to find it, just like Repeater Book. Yeah. remember her name. She got a perfect score on her tech test. That's what I remember. Real nice lady. Anything else? Did I do a fairly good job covering them all? Thank you, Luke. That's all I've got. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully we all found something useful. Thank you for coming. Yes, you have stuff to talk about. Stand up, Dave. Thank you for reminding me. You are Dave, right? Okay.
If any of you have got nothing better to do during the day, would like to learn something new, I'm working for the Napa Bike Project down in Napa. We build bikes and repair them, fix them, and we just gave about 100 bikes so far out to schools and to halfway houses. People are getting their lives back together and getting screwed up. And there's a lot of times they can't drive, they can't get to their job that they need to. So a lot of times we'll sell bikes for them and get them out. Then we also took 10 bikes down in the Hispanic Center there in Napa. Just gave them to them, they just give them up to people who need. And I can teach you how to fix bikes. And we're down there just 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're only half there in the morning, just from 9 about noon. But if you're interested in coming down and learning how to fix bikes, we appreciate it. We're also looking at possibly, it's still really kind of vague, but it might be if we get some people to come and help with bikes, they might let us use their building for swap. Inside, we're working, so we're still working on those details. But the thing is that I have a wall. We have all kinds of bikes. Most of the bike shops, and they can't fix it, they'll give it to us, and then we can fix it and give it to somebody else. And then we're gonna have, we did a big one at, Stop. We went down on,
What, on 12th?
yeah. The manager knew we were coming. He gave us a chunk of his parking lot. He changed his signs out front that we were having a bike sale from these hours. People could drive by and come and find bikes, and little kids get out of their mom and dad's car, turn over, and they grab this bike. We run around the parking lot, make sure it fits, and then the mom and dad puts down 20 bucks. And it's okay to do.
It is a great service. I mean, over here that you've got the Boise Bike Project, which is a lot bigger, it has a lot more publicity, but the Nampa Bike Project does a lot of good and can use people.
It's located on corner of 14th and 6th.
At the Nazarene Church there.
Yeah, it's just behind the bull back there off 16th, or 16th room from down to the right side. And I have a ball. This is a nice place.
That was the Stand Hope Ultra Marathon.
They swabbed me Saturday. That's the
That's cool.
star.
So,
It's all little black dots. All the
That-
communication places.
yep. So this would be north.
North Star.
Haley Sun Valley is right here.
Oh, yeah.
There's
The
a-
only
the-
blue portion of our state.
Mackey would be like right over here. So we did, this is where we do the Stand Hope Ultra Marathon.
Missed the general thing, and she physically got
Three
me.
ASAP radios.
But I'm like, I'm just gonna pay closer attention to her. She
Yeah.
really wants to go do that next year.
Yeah, so we had a repeater there. That was a repeater that we set up. That was a repeater that we set up. All the other black dots, most of them were aid stations. Our net control was right there. Span repeater. That took to